Welcome to Pitch in the Zone, our weekly gathering of coaches who meet once every week to provide feedback to a presenter's 3-minute pitch. Our coaches, like every week, we have Nathan Gold, specializing in high-stakes presentations, hailing from San Francisco. Usually also with us is Scotty Spurzum. Today she's not gonna make it, but Michael Marchak, a speaker, author, and C-level executive hailing from Chicago, is with us. And we have Massimo Peroncelli, hailing from Thailand, a serial entrepreneur who's also doubling as our timekeeper. And last but not least, we have Rick Pollack, a presentation coach from Massachusetts. Welcome all of the coaches. And then of course, our star for the day is Scott Peak. Scott Peak is going to present Groups Linked Up. This is Scott's third time in Pitch in the Zone, and as we know, the third time is going to be a charm. So welcome back, Scott. And before you start, who is going to be your target audience for your pitch today?
You'll be the foundations.
Foundations themselves. All right, very good. So if you want to share your screen, please feel free to set up now. And then take a deep breath. Beautiful, we can see that. So take a deep breath, and whenever you are ready, Scott, the floor is yours.
Hello, I'm Scott Peak. I'm excited about Groups Linked Up, a newly found foundation that will provide opportunities for organizations to make meaningful connections. As individuals, we have many opportunities to make connections, to share ideas and learn from each other. Just think how powerful it'd be if organizations had that same opportunity. Groups typically form with a common purpose: a high school debate team, a college entrepreneurial club, civic groups like Rotary and Kiwanis. Encouraging groups such as these to connect with each other will enhance the experience for the local and individual members. I have experience as a member, leader, and advisor for groups. I've seen many organizations thrive when they make positive connections. Years ago, a local chapter of American Red Cross decided to partner with college students to market an upcoming blood drive. As a result, a 5-state record was shattered for the number of units donated in 1 week. That happenstance connection was a success back then, and it continues to be today. The mission of Groups Linked Up will provide an alternative to that coincidental connection, allowing organizations such as American Red Cross or Toastmasters International the ability to be strategic in making connections. Groups Linked Up will feature a robust website, allowing organizations to make connections and access a vast database of shared information. Here's an interesting question. How many organizations have access to the AI technology that will allow organizations to function and use their membership recruitment process? Groups Linked Up will use that technology. Once we secure foundation funding, we will initiate the website development and launch the marketing campaign. Within the first 6 months, we will be fully operational. Our goal is to have 100,000 registered groups by the end of the first year. I have a proven track record for bringing new ideas into successful completion. During my career, I managed large teams. I was responsible for $125 million in capital projects and responsible for $45 million in annual operating budgets. I have a successful team that will provide opportunities for Groups Linked Up to be a reality. Thank you.
All right, all right. Thank you very much, Scott, for this actual real good demonstration of what some preparation can do. And you've participated in so many of the Pitch in the Zones before. You've received feedback twice. And if I compare this version today with your very, very first one a couple of weeks ago, it's a noticeable difference. Really well done. Let me start today with Rick Pollack. Rick, what kind of observations have you made and how can you help our presenter today?
Well, Scott, very much improved. I went back and looked at the videos earlier this week of your previous two, and I like how you've taken the feedback and incorporated it in this pitch. Your delivery is much more natural. I think standing up really helps, and I could feel the passion you have before. I think the first couple times you were just kind of reading and more in a monotone. Now was you had that passion there. I also liked how you had the beginning, you kind of summarized right at the beginning, the opportunities to make meaningful connections. So I thought that was good. It was more at the beginning. I think on the previous ones, people didn't quite know what it was. This, I think, is a little bit better, you know, what Groups Linked Up does. What I remember from the previous ones, you had talked about, I believe that Red Cross story was something you personally were involved in as a college student. And that seems to be how you got there. But I think you could have, you didn't mention it this time, but I think you could have, because I mean, you talked about in the middle of your background and qualifications. But I think that's an interesting, because that's the passion. You started out as a college student, helping the Red Cross organize and getting people. And that really was your start. That was the impetus that, you know, or ignited your interest in this. So I think you can put that in, because that tells why. That's the why you're doing this. And that's like 10 seconds of just connecting the dots there. So I think you can do that. I saw Michael's comment about the AI, and I'll let Michael talk about that, but I agree with that. I think you can get a little bit more into how the groups can help each other out. And that could be your Red Cross example, essentially. Right. I think you can get a little bit more into how it's going to work and get some examples of that. I think you had something in your previous one about getting discounts on insurance or sharing some other resources, but you're talking about people getting together, sharing resources and introducing that. But I think a little bit more concrete examples, especially if you're talking about to the foundations as your target audience, for them to be interested in this, they've got to see a real tangible benefit. Not, it would be nice to meet more people, but you're going to save money, or you're going to be able to get another group to help recruit people, and you'll get the thing done in half the time. And Scott, I remember from your first talk, you talked about the jaws of life and how you were able to get that. And then your personal story from your wife being caught in the car on that. And I think just more personal things like why you're doing this, and more tangible examples. It helps save someone's life, or it's helping this organization, this foundation, save money, and some more tangible things, but much improved. And I think if you just add a little bit more about yourself, the why you're doing it, and some tangible examples, I think would be really great.
Good. Thank you very much.
Good.
Awesome feedback. Thank you very much, Rick. And moving on to Massimo. Massimo, what kind of observations have you made?
Yes, thank you. Well, first of all, as Rick said, wonderful improvement. Like, for sure, the very first time, I almost didn't have a clue what you were talking about. So this time I immediately knew what you were doing, why, and how. So congratulations about that. Being the third time, though, I have to focus also on small details. So I have a small list of details. First of all, audio was not optimal. So if you're asking for money, invest in a $50 wireless mic or something. Audio was really low quality. So that's my first advice. Second, small things, but just because it's the third time, right? When you said at the beginning, it's a new foundation. It's kind of cacophonic. So maybe find a different word. Don't say foundation. It doesn't sound nice. On the slide with the social icons, they look like stretched, like they didn't look like the legal ones. Because keep in mind, you are legally required to use the ones that they provide you. You cannot use their logos except the ones they provide you. So once you go public, be sure that you respect all these things, okay? You cannot stretch or change colors of the logos. I've seen you use some fade-in effect in PowerPoint. Don't, because in Zoom, it's not 50 frames per second, it's just 2-3 frames. So it looks jaggy or like, it doesn't look nice. So just move that transition. And then like Michael and Rick said, to me, the step from talking all these nice human things, blood and helping people, to AI, it was too harsh. Like, okay, you're talking about human beings and boom, AI. A little bit of more transition, applying the advices from Michael and Rick. I think it will be less than, since you also had like 11 seconds more, you can put more of your personal examples. And the last thing in, I think the last slide, it was kind of static and just a kind of 4 3D renderings of buildings, which didn't have any real meaning to me. And but you were saying something like, you know, the why me thing, right? So you were saying, I manage big groups, big teams, and $45 million here and there. There were 2 big numbers. So why don't you feel that black spot there with just maybe that big number? So people, oh, okay, 45 million is, because it was kind of empty and the 3D renderings to me didn't make sense. But I mean, as I said, those were just small things because that's my job here, but huge improvement compared to the first time, of course. Thank you for coming back again.
Thank you so much, Massimo. And as always, I so appreciate your attention to detail. You are picking certain things up, like the dimensions of the logos or things like that, that really, really helps put the icing on the cake of a presentation. So well done. Thanks so much for your feedback week in and week out. And moving on, Michael. Michael also put a couple of comments into the chat box for you, Scott. And please, Michael, take it from here and elaborate on some of those.
Sure. So I love the passion that you brought this time. I could really feel it. It is very personal. And I think that's the connection you want to capitalize on when you're talking with the folks at your organizations. One of the things I put in the comments, though, is as you're telling those stories, to keep their interest and to keep them engaged with you, always try to answer the why, or what's the outcome that you want for them? What's the outcomes that they're looking for that they would want to get engaged with you with? You know, I created this because we had these issues with fundraising and with not being able to meet the right people who are interested in providing funds to these organizations. And as organizations, we're always looking at a fundraising because we're always in that mode. We have funds we need to spend and operational expenses, et cetera. So this is why Groups Linked Up is here, is to help connect you with the right people. And I found this to be important when I was doing the Red Cross and et cetera, et cetera. And this was really a big deal. And this is the outcome that came. I was personally affected by this. And this is why I continue to be passionate about this space. Connecting your personal story with what you already know about organizations. You know that fundraising is an issue. You know that it's going to be difficult to raise the funds, and that you want to connect with the right people who are equally as passionate about whatever the funds or the organization is that they're connecting to. So having these like-minded people with these equal passions, bring that up. And say, I was so passionate about this. This is why I'm creating this platform, to be able to bring like-minded people together who are willing to fund these type of things, but don't know how to get in touch with the right people, and the organizations who are looking for these people who just can't find them. So if that's the market you're going after, make sure you bring that out, because there's that outcome piece is what people are wanting to hear. Why do I need to be involved with this? Why should I be involved with this? But I really appreciate seeing more of you. You know, I love the off-camera versus on-camera version, because when you're off camera, it is the natural you. And now I'm starting to see that more on camera with you, as it's the natural you coming through. So I really think it's a great improvement from the first time. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Michael. And let me move on to, well, one of our guests that is also coming back almost every week now because you apparently see some value in our group, Debbie. Debbie, what kind of observations have you made and how can you help Scott to improve this pitch even more?
Scott, it was definitely 100% better than the first two because of like what everybody said, you have a great personality when you're there commenting, but now it came out as the presenter. So it was great to see that. And your slides I thought were really good. I thought the young woman getting her blood was very effective as you talked about the blood. So like Rick and Michael already said, you know, building on that. And I think the only confusing part was there at the end with the AI and the membership. I had a little trouble, you know, kind of what that really meant, but it was really great and great improvement.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very, very much. And yeah, the AI, to me, it almost sounds like these days, if your presentation doesn't mention either AI or blockchain, you are not in the game. So just make sure you're transitioning to this in a smoother way. Sam, always great to have you back as well. What kind of help can you provide to Scott?
Okay, I'm just having a quick look. I think most of what I observed was kind of covered. So for me, it was the audio. I was really kind of struggling and it was in and out. So unfortunately I missed bits, so it's too low. But so a couple of bits I have for you. I think right at the beginning, when you open and say, hey, I'm Scott, I'm excited about Group Linked Up. I don't know, there was something around that. So part of me wondered why you didn't just say I'm the founder of Groups Linked Up, or alternatively, I'm excited about Groups Linked Up. Here's why, da 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 da. I'm excited about Groups Linked Up. Here's why you should be too, da 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 da. You know, there was something about that opening sentence that just, it didn't match. I don't know what it is, but yeah. So maybe something around there. And then the other one, I think somebody said it, I'm not sure, but that's the slide where you kind of told us, you know, your credentials. Again, what I was seeing and what I was hearing didn't match because I'm like, oh, wow, that sounds awesome. But then I'm looking thinking, I think there were 3 pictures and one was a building and it didn't match up. And okay. I'm one of those squirrel people. So I was kind of looking at this and then hearing, I think I hear a big number. So if you can do something just to make sure the slides match with what you're saying, I think that helps to not have competing, have my attention with competing purposes. But yeah, I think great job. I want to learn more about linked up groups for sure.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sam. And moving to Hai. Hai, you've been in Scott's seat before. You've also came back as a participant many, many times. I'm sure you have some valuable feedback for Scott as well.
Yeah, I thought the presentation is great. I like the natural dialogue, but I also agree with a lot of the people giving opinion earlier. I think just my own opinion is that maybe you are throwing in the AI, just try kind of like make it that differentiates against other big platform that offer groups. But I think it's a good idea, but it's probably need to be some angle that is not out there right now, but need to be filtered out more. I can keep more thinking to it. I think it's in the right path, or maybe need to be targeted into an industry like the blood drive or something. I think that's what you try to do. Right. But overall, it's great. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you very much. Hi. And Nathan, you have 5, 6, 7 minutes. Spend it all. Go
Send
deep.
it all over. Okay.
Go broad. Do whatever
Rick.
you can to lift Scott up from a good pitch to an even better and great pitch.
Okay. So Scott, if you want to sit down, it's okay.
I'm okay.
Okay. Just wanted to. Yeah. Okay. Just wanted.
I know. I'm good where I'm at.
All right. Super. So this is an example to me of where You might need 1 or 2 more visits with us, and that's totally okay. You know, not everybody gets it in 3. In this case, it feels like you did the focus on the camera and you went a little bit too much this way, and we just need to go back and get you focused a little bit more. And I think from this session, the 4th one is going to be the charm, in my opinion.
Okay.
So here's a couple of things I noticed right away. The groups linked up, you chose those 3 words for a very specific reason, right? But yet I don't hear you use those words very often in the presentation. And it feels to me like those 3 words can be the theme of your whole presentation. And you can use those words differently depending on where you are in your narrative. So they're such nice words that it feels like you're just missing an opportunity of using them in the way you present. When you say meaningful relationships, that causes a lot of friction when I hear that, because I already have meaningful relationships. So who are you to come along and tell me as a foundation that you're going to help me create meaningful relationships? That's too aggressive, I think. I would much rather you put an adjective in front of the word meaningful, such as more, essential, indispensable, fundamental, pivotal, critical, decisive, dominant. You know, pick an adjective, go get a synonym to the word. I put the word key in there and I said, give me the synonym. So find a better synonym that amplifies what you mean by meaningful relationships. Okay, and that will amplify that whole sentence. I agree with everybody. Your Red Cross story, I'd take 2 minutes and 45 seconds and tell us that story. Skip everything else. I mean, put yourself in there, because that story illustrates the problem that you're solving by giving us better linked up groups. See how you can flip those words around and just start using them by having better linked up groups. You as a foundation, and I think it was to Michael's point, you need to make it more about them and what they can do with what you've done. So put that into their heads with more you phrasing and what you can do. And I think this presentation, that Red Cross, everybody has blood, so we all identify with it, right? And Red Cross is always a very positive thing, and safety, self-preservation starts coming in, and we all pay attention even more. I would just go with that story completely and breathe more. Breathe more. You know, and then the bottom line I have here is, because of the name you chose, it just seems like it all starts with connections, introductions, referrals, a link up, or in your case, linked up groups. And the power of linking groups together is what's not coming out as much as I'd like to see in your story. The power behind that Red Cross story can be almost assumed that that could happen with any group. And you can even say that at the end.
Right.
What if this happened with one of your groups or with one of your whatever? Okay, but come on back again, even if you want to do it off of, we'd love to have you back, but if you don't want to wait, I think we're getting really backed up with presenters. Perhaps we can have another, oh, we're not? Okay, then we'll leave it.
It's okay. It's okay.
So come back again, and I feel like one more perhaps, and you're going to be right down the zone, and you're going to get those questions that you want from the foundations. You'll turn that monologue into a dialogue very quickly. And that could even be turned into a quick little video that you can send out to the foundations that you're trying to get appointments with and say, hey, I just wanted to share a quick story with you in order to try to get an appointment with you, blah, 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 or however you want to do it. It could be that outward reach, I think, and this 3 minutes, that's more than enough, right?
Right.
Over to you, Claudio.
Thank you so much, Nathan. And I agree, you know, that there is no limit of times that somebody can come back to Pitch in the Zone. We are gonna help you until you yourself are totally happy with it. Now, before I ask you another question, Scott, I just want to make a very brief comment about the audio quality today, because Scott and I, we met 2 days ago, and he got a new microphone, and it's a pretty good microphone. It's a Blue Yeti, you know, these are decent microphones. I think in this case here, it just demonstrated that those kind of condenser microphones, the distance matters big time. Big time. So when you listen to these almost radio sounding, you know, webcasts and podcasts, if you are looking how close they are to these microphones, and that's what gives you more of the volume. So you might find the solution to get the microphone maybe on top of you, you know, coming down when you're standing, or some kind of a stand that puts the microphone closer to your mouth. My question, yeah, sorry, Scott.
When I switched from, you know, and moved my camera, you know, I had my microphone closer, and then when I switched, I moved it down. I didn't want it to scream, which is a good question, you know, because when I've seen presentations, the microphone's not there. You know, so I moved it away, which was probably the issue.
Yeah, you can test this yourself right now by just taking it and moving it closer to your mouth, and then listen to the recording later on, and you will see. I shut up so you can do that. Just say something, or actually,
well,
I want to ask you a quick...
Is it better now that it's closer? It's probably, you know.
Absolutely. So, and the question I wanted to ask you, Scott, is what did you think of your presentation today?
I agree. As far as I'm still not there, I had things that happened that you know, threw me off a little bit, but I'm happy with the direction I'm going in, because I'm refining this idea, getting it out of my head and getting it to the point where it's understandable. Because that's obviously the essence here, is to making sure that it's concise, that I'm making my idea known, what, you know, what's going on. Groups linked up is in fact just what Nathan says. It's linking groups, it's finding that and getting that message out. So I have more work to do, and this is so valuable by hearing your perspectives. This is exactly what I need.
All right. So yes, please come back. And with that, I want to thank all of the coaches for your valuable insight and feedback week after week after week. I believe that what we've seen today with Scott is a motivating demonstration. It's proof that what we are doing here really works. Whether people are observing or whether people are taking an active role as presenters, not just once, but twice, 3 times. And the progress that we see is astonishing. So thank you, everybody, for your help every single Thursday morning. And with that, I wish you a great day, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye-bye.